They never thought he would return from the days of the Vanguard boomer. Back in the day of the old school where the meta was just this and only this, really. There weren't many other decks. This was the only really good deck. But he is back! And with new support out of DZBTO 6, that is Overlord.
You're kidding me.
He makes his return in today's meta with support coming out of the most recent set, which happens to be really, really beefy. So we're going to get right into it. Jumping right into the ride deck. If you saw my last video, the Rezael versus Overlord matchup, the ride deck's going to be a bit different from that video there for a good reason, and I'll get to that in a minute. But we have the energy markers here running the Kai sleeves. We love to see them. And then getting into the ride line, we've got, of course, our glorious starter, Lizard Runner Undu. Overlord would not be complete without the original good boy, but unfortunately we're not going to be keeping the old ride line and some of the more nostalgic cards that Overlord used to partner with. Our next grade 1 for the ride line is going to be Rising Star Vergilla. And Vergilla is insanely good because he makes your ride cost for the next ride free, essentially. You Soul Blast 1 and then you do that instead of discarding, which saves you a card for that mid to late game when you really need the hand advantage and some of the tech choices, because it's a bit more combo PC than it was before, and I'll get to that in a minute. Next up for grade 2, we've got the Shooting Star Vergia. You want that for the on ride, and it's a bit of a different check choice. You could still technically play Nahalem if you really want to. He's an extra body, so it's a caveat. This one gets you the grade 2. Nahalem is a free grade 2. So you have that body guaranteed as opposed to you check top 7, maybe you don't hit something because you're not playing the Vergia grade 3 to get the whole deck search for a grade 2. But this is still really good because there are other grade 2s you might want that aren't Nahalem, and I'll get to that in a minute too. But for the last one, of course, our boy, The End. We don't play base in the ride line, and I'll get to that in a minute. There is another build that you play if you play the order card that's coming out in the manga. I forget which manga set's coming out, but it's going to be like a $10, $12 manga. And you're going to want to pick that up if you play Overlord, because that order card is really freaking good. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for that. I will be updating this list as I go to. This is my go-to deck right now, so more updates to come. But that's the ride line as it is right now. Moving into the main deck, we're going to start with our Overlords. You want to max out. So you have 4 base Overlord and then 3 The End, obviously because the 4 is in the ride deck, but 4 and 4 generally. You want to see the one of the base 4 so that you're getting that into the soul, and then you're going to get that combo so he gets his continuous and you're able to drive check. Especially now with our new support, you can do that on your first grade 3 turn and make sure that you're getting your drive advantage even if your opponent's at grade 2. So you play 4 and 4. Next up, we play 2 copies of Drag Resonance. Now, this is your alternative order. Some people like Bracing Angel Ladder over this, or they don't play it at all. And there's another order that we play in this deck as well that supplements that a little bit. But this is a really good turn 1 order card to play. So you're getting that extra 10k, that pseudo Persona ride on your first grade 3 turn, and that's going to make your columns beefy. And it combos really well with another card in here that I'll get to in a moment, and that'll set up some of your magic numbers for that first grade 3 turn. Especially against decks in the Divine series, they have a really solid mid to late game. Michu is really strong. New Rezael's insane. You can check out that video. I'll have it linked somewhere around here or down in the comments. But that one, you can see how insanely aggressive it is on that second grade 3 turn. It's a bit nuts. So having something early game to help you keep up with it's really helpful. And then lastly for grade 1s, we play 1 copy of the Fire Regalis. Now you could be playing again the Bracing Angel Ladder. I was before, and that's good against decks that have removal. You're playing against a deck like the New Varga. New Varga clears front and back row. But this is helping to search for your key pieces to make sure that this is going to proc on that first grade 3 turn. Everything after that is deck thinning. So if you hit this early and you already have the combo, it's another deck thinner. You can search for something, call it, done. You're square, and it's another way to get rid of normal units in your deck. And it's free. You discard it for the ride cost. It's in your discard. You just remove it from the game for the effect, and then you're good. So there's no real lost value in playing it. And then going on to grade 2s, 4 copies of Burning Horn. Now, that's self-explanatory. He's your grade 3 searcher. If you whiff the grade 3 search, you get that counter charge back, and he gets that 10k, 5 for each swing, and you're going to be on him at all times. You're never not on him, so you're always going to get the 2 checks, the 2 swings, and then the 2 5k buffs. So that's supplemented by, though, 4 copies of the Return of Bellicosity Dragon. He makes his way back from EB09, and yeah, he had his V retrain, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about V. I joke. I know that V still has its moments here and there. Bellicosity is just really solid because it does the exact same thing as Burning Horn with a power boost, but better because it doesn't check for the Overlord name. So you can be on grade 2, it's going to get that power boost. You're going to be on grade 3, it's going to get double power boost because it's not a once per turn. And it's your new way of cheating Overlord into the soul. On your grade 2 turn, you play that, Energy Blast 3, shove a copy of the base form into the soul, and then you're going to be guaranteed on your grade 3 turn to have that continuous ability proc off right away. Even if it's on your grade 3 turn too, still, if you don't get it right away, maybe you have to wait a turn, and then you play the copy of the Fire Regalis to check for this, if you have the Overlord in the hand, or if you don't have Overlord in the hand, you need to search for it. That's what Burning Horn is going to be for. And you just don't play anything up so that you don't run the risk of not having counter blast on your first grade 3 turn. So it varies. It varies a little bit in how you play out your early game. If you go first, you're probably going to only give you 1 damage because you're going to be getting swung at by a grade 1, no real setup there. And then if they damage now, you play something in the front. They swing rear. They say pass. You're kind of screwed after that. So playing around with your list a little bit and the tech choice is going to allow you to really benefit from him being able to draw and then set up for that grade 3 turn. And then for next up for grade 2s, we run 3 copies of Falheart. Don't buy them if you don't need to. It's really expensive. They're pushing 30, 40, 50 a copy for all the different energy cyclers to draw you cards. You don't need them. They're not super critical to the build, and there are alternatives you could play. There is a grade 2, I believe it's a double rare or a triple rare. It's only like $12, but it's the same thing, except it's a Soul Blast, and then you draw a card. And then it's when placed, it can blow up something or a whole column in the same column that it's called in. So you get some removal. It does the exact same thing for a Soul Blast, and in this version of the deck, Soul's not an issue because you're doing this and you're not playing the column anymore. Plus, you don't play anything that Soul Blasts generically, so you're really going to benefit from an alternative if you can't afford these. But these are good because you're going to have that extra draw, and he fetches you a grade 1 so you can build something of a column, and especially on a Persona Ride turn. 28 is still a really good number to have. It's a magic number that requires either a 15k shield plus something else, or it's going to require an effect front if they play those. So don't shoot it short even though it's expensive. You can always play an alternative if you need to though. And the reason why for that is going to be the next 2 cards, or 3 cards, is you play 2 copies of Duststorm Killing Field and then 1 copy of Bertrand. Insanely good support system. It makes your grade 2s viable in the back. We already play a ton of grade 2s. Between the Bertrand and then the other things, we have 12 grade 2s. Any one of them could be a really solid booster. You have a column of Burning Horns or a Burning Horn and a Bellicosity. That's a 40k column right there. With that effect, that's an insane magic number swing right there. It's 3k short, but still, that's pushing. You need what? 30k in shield to stop that. So it makes your columns nice. He becomes a 15k when he's targeted for the set order. It's a 10k already, so you have a 10k booster. You put this in front, and then let's say you can target grade 3s too. So you put a base copy of Overlord on the field behind him. That's a 13k booster behind a 10k, 23. Again, magic numbers make all the difference, especially in that mid to late game when you're running low on guard resources. So definitely don't shoot it short. It's a really solid engine to have as a backup to make sure that you're making those magic numbers happen. Play around with it a little bit, and then again, it goes back to what I was saying about the Falhearts. If you're playing something like this, and you don't have this one, you have the other one, that Soul Blast, that's still an insane combo piece, because then you play that, it nukes a column, and then you play this, and that makes that a 10k booster, right from the rip. So either or, you're plussing off of either removal or having a body on your own board for boosting. And that's it for grade 2s. Moving on to grade 1s, 4PG, self-explanatory. You can play 1 Elementaria. I need to take it out actually for one. I'm waiting for one in the mail. Either of the 2 are fine. Otherwise, 4 Sentinel is kind of self-explanatory. And then next up for grade 1s, 4 Halb. He's your cost piece for the whole deck. There's no real reason not to play 4 of it. If you can get 4, you need 4. I know it's expensive, but compared to the Falhearts, mandatory. The Halb is mandatory. Falheart's not. Spend the $40 here. Don't spend it here. If you can avoid it, spend it here. And then next up, 2 copies of Summit Flare Dragon. Insanely good searcher. It's basically free. You just pitch it from hand, and then you put 2 cards from your ride deck back in the ride deck face up, and then you check the top 7. And it searches any grade 3. So it could be the Persona Ride, it can be Base Overlord, it can be the Regalis, it can be Drag Resonance, anything. So if you already have the combo set up, search for Drag Resonance, guaranteed, and you're in the money. So, and then the guard value is also really good too. If you need that later, you just put, if you Persona Road already, you do that, and then you just take one copy of the grade 3 Overlord The End, and then you pay the cost to make sure you're getting that extra 10k shield. So good guard value, and then good deck thinning value too. Which, for what it's worth, right now, it's only like $3. Insane. Insane that it's only $3. It does all of that. So, and then onto triggers. 7 crit. I was playing draws. You don't really need to play draws. I would just say play the crit. The shield value is better, and you don't really need to do all that extra drawing, especially what you're already doing in the deck with the thinning and the drawing from Bellicosity. And then for front, again, self-explanatory. That extra 5k is insanely valuable shield, especially in the mid to late game. I don't care for the rare, or the double rare front in the new set. It's just not worth playing. Other decks, Brantgate for sure definitely needs it. You can play it in Dark States. It's just more soul fuel, especially for everything that Dark States does with soul. So, but for Dragon Empire, there's no real need for it. There's not enough soul blessing that you do to justify that. So, it's self-explanatory. And then 4 heal. I do play one of the effect heals. This one is the one that checks for if the attacking units attack twice or more that turn. You can definitely play one that checks for the extra crit. I would say that's probably in your best interest to do so. I only had these 3 and then one at the time of making this video, so if you have that other effect heal trigger, go for it. And then the other 2 can be vanilla heals to make sure that you're having a base 15k shield, and then you have the 1-in-1 for the situational attacks to make sure that you're living through some of those meta decks. Like Blangmire, you're going to get that off of Blangmire, getting the extra crit for his own skill, or Levidrus getting the 10k and a crit as well. And then for our over, we're playing the Drag Vita. You could play any of the elemental ones. The blue one's good. The extra crit's nice. And then the add from drop is nice too. You get a PG back. This one just fits the theme. You're getting that 3rd swing. You check this on an Overlord swing. That's 3 attacks. You're doing a pseudo Varga with 100 million power. You want to see that. And that is it for this deck profile. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you have any tech choices that you thought about and want to just mention them in the comments below. Just share your thoughts about the build and how it's going to keep up with some of the other decks in the meta right now. Again, Rezael and Levidrus being the top 2 on my radar. Blangmire's in there. It's a very big threat, especially in that mid to late game where it's getting to 8, 12 cards in the bind zone. They're beefing up by 20k, 30k. You know what I'm talking about. So, with that, thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.